today's actually going to be related to, since GDC is going on, a simple self-awareness tip that I found useful over the years, and I think some people I've trained have as well. And it's an exercise which can be kind of uncomfortable, but useful. And the exercise is very simple. It's basically a form of introspection that begins from consideration about what we feel towards others. If you really think hard about what annoys you when other people do it, what bothers you, what really gets under your skin when people do or say certain things. Is there a way that they say them that really grates on you? Is there a thing that when people do it, you just have a hard time controlling your emotion and maybe feel a need to get away from the person or get out of the room or separate yourself from the situation? What is it that really frustrates you? And the reason I mention this is because quite often those are insights into what's frustrating us about ourselves. Now, it can either be a direct reflection of something where we may not be comfortable fully admitting it to ourselves, but we can see some of ourselves in that behavior, and that makes us uncomfortable. Or occasionally, maybe less often, but occasionally it's because we find our values are so steeply in contrast to what we observe there that we have a hard time being around it. But it's simply, like I say, it's an easy introspection exercise of just really picturing other situations that have frustrated you just by being an observer to them. So not necessarily it even happening to you, just by you were in the room, you heard from a friend, you saw it going on, maybe you were in a classroom as the way someone spoke to a teacher or spoke with one another, or in a workplace. And sometimes these can be easiest to see in family members, if only because, for obvious reasons, they may be inclined to share some of our same body language, mannerisms, formats of speech, attitudes, choices about how to communicate, how to navigate our emotions. We can see in them a reflection of ourselves, which is a little bit warped, which is enough like us to make us uncomfortable, not enough like us to really own it on the surface. But we inspect those things about what frustrates us about family or close friends or people we've just observed. It helps tell us a few things about ourselves. It's often so easy to see something in others and then to disregard the possibility that that's a part of ourselves. It's sort of like it's easier. It's an old, when I was in middle school, there was a track coach for cross country as well. And when the kids would all go running their miles for their warm up for cross country or whatever, he would be along there in his pickup truck, cheering them on, telling them they got this, etc. He was not in good shape. And what I like about that is what a reminder of it is how easy it is to tell someone else what to do or to see what they're doing wrong than to see that in our own behavior or push that on ourselves. And so all I'm asking is that if there's something that really irritates you, bugs you, sets you off when other people do it, to really take a moment to focus on that, not to wish poorly on the other person, but as a opening up yourself to the question of, what does that tell you about yourself? Is there a shred of overlap between that and things that you do and would rather not think about? That's inside you and you'd rather keep subdued. Or again, there's occasionally the opposite case where there's something which you find you're so far the other direction. Maybe sometimes we flatter ourselves telling us that's the case when it's maybe not what's going on. But if anything else too, that can still be its own introspection as to identifying, okay, well, there's my core values. There's things that are important to me. And by just pinning that down, focusing on it, thinking about it, helps us figure out what sort of situations we do or don't want to find ourselves in, navigating our way through life into maybe a work situation or otherwise in which we can avoid those scenarios. Something that each year I've gotten better at when I go to things like GDC is figuring out how to best navigate this event, both the professional sort of daytime aspects and then the evening events, how to best navigate those in a way that I avoid situations I'm uncomfortable with, I avoid people I'm uncomfortable with. And it's not even, I think it's useful to point out, when I say people I'm uncomfortable with, it's not even like that there are people who I hope I never see or people who I find something wrong with. It's more so in the same kind of way that when people are on Twitter, they act differently than we do, and that same people are on Facebook, or the same people are on Instagram, and the same people are on YouTube. certain platforms, settings, and communities bring out certain things from us. And the same way, there might be someone who I like that person, the way that person is when they're at work, and I personally don't care for how that person is when they're at a bar, or they're at, you name the setting. But being aware that it's not necessarily about just the person, but the context you find them in can affect your comfort around them. And again, this can be the kind of things we can kind of find from what irritates us when we see other people do it. Can we read from that things about ourselves? And I think you got the idea today. But anyway, that's it for now. Hope you're having a great GDC if you're there. If not, I think there's some other cool stuff happening online. Not GDC is a thing worth looking up. Hope you're having a great week. Bye for now.